Under President Lula, Brazil's policy suffered a deep moral failure. Let me be very clear. Lula is anti-Semitic. This is not a slogan. This is not exaggeration. This is based on his ideas, his advisors, his words, and his actions. The main designer of Lula's international policy, his top advisor, Celso Amorim, wrote the preface of a book that praises Hamas and presents it as a normal political group. Hamas is not a resistance group. Hamas is a terrorist organization, the same group that killed innocent Israeli families on October 7th. This shows that what we see today is not an accident. It's not a mistake. It's an ideology. And this ideology does not stay on paper. It becomes government action. In early 2023, the Brazilian government allowed Iranian warships from a regime that openly calls for the destruction of Israel to enter a Brazilian port. After the Hamas massacre of October 7th, while Israel was still mourning its dead, Lula rushed to accuse Israel of acting in a violent and unfair way. When Brazil's citizens left Gaza in November 2023, Lula used that moment not to condemn Hamas, but to attack Israel. From 2023 on, Brazil voted again and again against Israel at the United Nations and other international bodies. In February 2024, Lula crossed a moral line by comparing Israel's actions to the Holocaust, an anti-Semitic statement that insulted the Jewish people and minimized the worst crime in history. Brazil then called back its ambassador from Israel, stopped military cooperation with Israeli companies, supported false genocide claims against Israel in international courts, and refused to approve a new Israel ambassador. These are no single mistakes. They form a clear and intentional partner. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak today not only as a senator, but as a candidate for president of Brazil. Thank you.
Com certeza o Brasil voltará a ter um presidente que é amigo de Israel, que vai abrir as portas do país para grandes parcerias na parte da economia, da tecnologia, da informação e da segurança, porque atualmente, muito infelizmente, o Brasil tem um presidente da República que apoia terroristas, que é persona non grata aqui na Terra Santa de Israel. E isso vai mudar a partir de 2027.
Can do many more things. Hopefully. Thank you, Mr. Carlson. Congressman Eduardo Bolsonaro of Brazilian National Congress, please.
Sorry about my voice. I got this in the flight coming here. Minister Mihai Shikli, great honor to be here invited by you, Josh, members of the Knesset. I will read, so I will not be more than 5 minutes. I stand here before you with humility and with pain. On October 7th, the world lost its illusions. Families were burned alive, babies killed, women raped, entire communities erased, not by accident, but by intent. That day did not start a war. It revealed a truth many refused to face. This was not resistance. It was genocidal anti-Semitism in its most brutal form. After October 7th, silence was no longer ignorance. Silence became complicity. That's why in October, together with my colleagues from the Foreign Affairs and National Defense Committee in Brazil, I requested and approved a motion condemning Hamas terrorist attacks and expressing solidarity with Israel. This is why legislator matters, because anti-Semitism today does not always wear a swastika. It hides behind NGOs, humanitarian language, and academic jargon, like the word anti-Zionism. My friend Minister Amichai Chikli knows it very well. He played a key role in the extraction of IDF soldier Yuval, a war hero, after the NGO Hind Hajab Foundation, connected to Hezbollah, attempted to have him arrested while on vacations in Brazil. Thank you very much, Minister. Without the information that you provide to me, I would never connect them with Hezbollah. And only because of that, we overturned the narrative going to the president's social media, and the judge was forced to dismiss the case. If lawmakers lack moral clarity and courage, the law itself becomes an accomplice. That's why we have a lot to do. First thing, prevention must come before bloodshed. We must criminalize not only attacks, but preparatory acts, financing, recruitment, and propaganda. If the law reacts only after blue is spilled, the state has already failed. That's why there is no justification for Brazil under the LULA administration to withdraw from the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. We reject Holocaust. Why he rejects Holocaust education in a country with the second largest Jewish community in Latin America? Anyone with a moral compass knows the answer. Second, extremist organizations must be legally designated as terrorist groups. Not only armed groups, but also NGOs that support them. Without designations, banks cannot freeze accounts, courts cannot act, police hesitate. As Sun Tzu taught us, you cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to identify. Third, radical transparency for NGOs. Terror networks abuse humanitarian structure. They use charities, schools, and cultural institutions to launder money and hate. All intelligence services know what happens in the tri-border area between Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. And maybe that's why Argentina and Paraguay declared South America's cartels as CV and PCC, as which proven to launder money to Hezbollah and Islamic Jihad as terrorist groups, and Lula da Silva in Brazil didn't. The absence of attacks does not mean absence of terrorists. And from those three countries, only one currently refuses full cooperation with the United States under President Trump. Yes, that's Brazil under Lula's administration. Mandatory audits through transparent for foreign funding and zero tolerance for extremist links. Fourth, migration laws that truly integrate. This is not about race or religion. It's about civilizational red lines, respect for the laws, equality between men and women, freedom of religion, and the clear rejection of terrorism. Tolerance, as Karl Popper warned us, cannot be a suicide pact. Fifth, protect Jewish communities. Synagogues, Jewish schools, and community centers are not symbolic targets. They are operational targets. At Yad Vashem, I learned how the Nazi first mapped Jewish families before murdering them. The law must reflect reality, harsher penalties, permanent police protection, and clear recognition of anti-Semitism as an ideological crime. Going to the end, I end personally. I do not want to be friends with the uncivilized, those who cannot distinguish good from evil. And here's my very rumble but remind that we will be together with Israel, and thank you very much for all the information of Mossad and IDF. Thanks God, I can show it very comfortably, and in some neighborhoods around here, they do not even can look very closely. You know why. You know why. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman Bolsonaro. I think that President Lula is a symbol of socialism connecting to anti-Semitism, basically.
100%.
Yeah.
We will defeat them. My brother, Senator FLAVIO Bolsonaro, will run for president in October. I ask you for support him. My father naturally could run,
Good luck.
but he's in jail because of lawfare.
Yeah.